question for today is, can I grow food or flowers in all Home Depot products? I should say that these products probably are sold in other places, but I got them from Home Depot. I'm going to attempt to grow some vegetables and some herbs in this raised garden bed. And it has some nice features from what I saw when I put it together. I'm going to take this out. So there's the name. This raised bed is produced by Keter, and it has some nice features that I liked when I put it together. So I'm going to take this little insert, their little product description, and show you what's inside the bed. So first of all, we have this little piece here. So this is how you tell when you need to water. So this will go up and down as the water beneath in the reservoir fills. When it goes down to the lowest level, it says you should fill it. Under here we have a mesh. That mesh, I'm guessing, is supposed to stop the soil from going down into the reservoir, but at the same time allowing the soil to soak up the water that's left in the reservoir. A thing that's cool here is they actually give you a little starter tray. It just sits right here on the side. You can lift that out, see, and just drop it back in here. And it fits neatly in the corner. Looks good. Now what's underneath the reservoir that I told you about? So if we pull this out, we have the water reservoir at the bottom. So it looks like that's probably about an inch high, maybe an inch and a half. And then there's space also down on the sides so that the water can pool there. If this works, that should be pretty nice. You'll see a little hole down there. You might not be able to see it well, but right there, what that's attached to is this plug here. So this plug can be removed. That way you can let the water out. I think that's a pretty cool feature. All right. I had to pause for a minute because I pulled that plug all the way out. You're not supposed to pull it all the way out. There are little water holes in it. The holes for the water, right, if you can see it, right there on the side, right there. And I pulled it all the way through. You're only supposed to pull it out right to this point. Then the water can drain. Then you close it back. So I had to pause to fix what I undid. Okay, now what we're going to use to grow in this bed is some Miracle-Gro Nature's Care Organic Raised Bed Soil Mix. So I looked at this, and man, I'm so tempted to add some modifications, some amendments, but I read through it, and if this has everything in it that it says it has, I should at least get my plants off to a good start for a couple of months. So right there I'm looking, some of the things that I would have amended with are already in the bag. So we have, let's see, we have alfalfa meal, bone meal, earthworm castings, alfalfa meal, bone meal, earthworm castings, and kelp meal. Those are mixed in. Those are good ingredients. It is OMRI rated. I do like that. And then let's see what the ingredients are. That's telling us now. Now let's see what the ingredients are here. So, looking at the bag, it's made from one or more of the following. Let's see, peat, processed forest products, and sphagnum peat moss and or coir, poultry litter, alfalfa meal, bone meal, kelp meal, and earthworm castings. Okay, that follows what's on the back, and it has instructions here. It says, for best results, use as directed. After a month or when your plant starts to look droopy, you'll want to give them some extra love with Nature's Care plant food. I happen to have their water soluble plant food, so to continue using a product by the same line, I'm actually going to go ahead and use that when it's time. So that said, I gotta remind myself, after a month. Okay, so it actually says this should get my plants going for a month. So I'm gonna put this in the bed, and I'm gonna put some water on it to get this going, and then later on today I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna do some transplanting. So let me go ahead and get this in the bed. Now what is this? The special ingredient package of alfalfa meal, bone meal, earthworm castings, and kelp meal contain nutrients essential in helping plants to build strong roots. That also helps the microbes, those pieces in there, because I actually use those amendments. So far this is looking pretty good. We're going to see how well it actually works. So I'm going to dump this in the bed, and then later on I'm going to come back when it's time to transplant, show you the bed, and we'll get some plants growing in here. Okay, the soil's in. Now I'm just going to wet the bed. Actually, that didn't sound right. I'm going to actually moisten the soil so that the water can get soaked up all around throughout the day. Now, this bed said that I needed 1.73 cubic feet in order to fill it. If you look, you can see that I do have to add some more soil here, and I will do that later. I actually have more of the same type, some more of the Nature's Care raised bed mix, so I am going to be adding that same soil, so I keep it with what I expect the experiment to use and not add any extra ingredients, no matter how tempted I am. Okay, let's water this baby. Now I'll go ahead and finish this and come back to you guys later. Okay, the water is soaked in nicely. Okay, I see that my water gauge here, it's come up a little bit above, not much. I'm going to leave the plug closed on the side here, and I'm going to see if this gauge rises as the water that I just put in fills in. So I put in 3 gallons. Some of that's going to soak through, and then some of it is going to actually be pulled back up to the areas with less concentration of water by osmosis. So this should, I'm hoping that 3 gallons is enough to dampen the bed, but if not, I'll put some more. But I'm going to wait a bit because I want this to be nice, and I don't want to say damp, I want it to be moist. Okay, I hope that sounded right. I want it to be moist, and what I'm going to do later on, as I said, is I'm going to add more soil in order to come up to this point here. So I'll grab another bag, but I'm going to let this soak in first. As it goes with life, sometimes you get pulled away. But here I am to finish up. I have actually added more of the Nature's Care raised garden bed mix. It doesn't look like it's as high as I said it would be after I moistened it again, but I'm going to leave this space because I realized I have to have some mulch in there because as it gets warm here in the Northeast and Pennsylvania, it's going to hit the 90s, and every so often there's going to be times where the heat index is over 100. But I wanted to show you what it looks like planted out. Here I transplanted a rosemary plant. That is a stevia plant. It actually has, in the couple of days since I put it in, it's actually started to grow and looks like it's going to bush out a bit. Then I just took some kale that I had from winter sowing, dropped that in, and a little lettuce plant that was in the back. I added that. I had to open the plug that I mentioned because the water had actually pooled on the bottom, and I realized it was staying really soaking wet. I opened it and it worked very well. This gauge is not showing any water in the reservoir, but as you see, there is moisture around the plants, which is very interesting because it is actually being pulled up from the lower levels. So I like that. And just so you can see, in the tray, some of the sunflowers have already sprouted. So we'll leave it here and we'll check back periodically just to see how everything's doing in here.